Slacktail Squad, assemble.
Welcome, members of Slaptail Nation. I'm the Beaveman. I'm in my little beaver den, and we are finally podcasting because we've been waiting for the Rons for the past 2 hours because the Rons doesn't understand technology, but that's okay. But that's okay. With me today is my number one, Grogu. Thanks for joining us today, Grogu. Also with us today is my other number one, not nearly as cool as Grogu. The Rons.
Hey, I thought you were going to say the Swan, because it is the holiday season.
What does that have to do? The holiday season, what does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Also with us today is the Swan. Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
Great job. Nice job. It is one day after Christmas, if we can say that. For those of you that do not celebrate Christmas, still thank you for listening.
Or actually, it's Christmas Day if you think about it. It's Boxing Day.
It's Kwanzaa.
So.
He just said so to Kwanzaa.
Yeah, he said so.
Yeah, so. Right. I don't know anybody that celebrates Kwanzaa. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Rons, for someone as technologically adept as yourself, why does it take you 2 hours to use a program that my mother can use? Keeping in mind she's 76 years old.
A couple of reasons.
And she only started using a cell phone about 2 years ago.
Well, there are a couple of reasons. One, everybody was not on board with the time. Everybody was suggesting
It doesn't have anything to do with it. You got a 4 o'clock time hack, so we said, okay, 4 o'clock. So we still
we did not. We did not agree to that.
It doesn't matter. You still came up, but you still came up at 4 o'clock for us to do it. So it doesn't matter if that's the time that we still eventually came to.
I was waiting.
It is now 6:23.
You're right. You're exactly right on your aspect of that. However, I was waiting on my part I usually run notes. I usually get some programs prepped up, right? About 10 minutes.
It doesn't seem like you're ever prepared, so
I am.
Why would that make a difference?
I am prepared more than you think. I get.
That's really sad. That's really sad if you're actually prepared, because you don't seem prepared whatsoever on any of these podcasts. And that's okay. And it's okay. You don't have to, because that's what I appreciate that's how you are, but you really don't seem prepared at all. So now I'm really shocked that you actually are prepared for them, because that means you're even more, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Smarter than you? No, that's actually a couple of words.
No, that's
but
not.
No, I am prepared. I usually get a notepad program lined up. I take down notes.
Why don't you just use paper? That might make it easier for you instead of having 50 programs running.
The other thing is I want to make sure that the audio works and the video works until we can. Wow, that is really, really cool. All right.
Flashy things. He's distracted.
How easily you get distracted, Rons?
Well, no, you're waving this lightsaber in front of the camera, and I'm like, wow, does it vibrate too?
See, you were easily distracted.
I was not, but I usually go over all my notes, and I start loading up some of the stuff that we want to talk about.
So if we were going to start at 6, it would have been 8 o'clock? Is that what you're telling us?
No, I would have prepped about 5:30. I would have got everything lined up, because the last time I called in early, I got talked to about, what did I say? I was going to call you, so I don't jump the gun on that. However, in this case, nothing was loading up. I think it might have been a hardware error. I don't know what happened.
Is your name Hardware?
Yeah, it could have been. So, and then I didn't want to use my phone because it didn't have the mic attached. And I am humbled and grateful for the gift that I got. I wanted to show it off. I really did. I wanted to show that I could use it. It's only hooked up to one system, right? And that's the system that I use for the podcasting. I have a triple monitor setup down there, or I should say my son does.
Boring. Okay, let's move on.
Anyway,
how was your Christmas? Did you celebrate Christmas, Rons? Do you celebrate Christmas?
I do. I celebrate Christmas with family and friends, and it was great.
Right? Did you wear a mask?
I did. I did.
Was it all outdoors?
No, it was indoors. It was indoors. I went over to my mom's house. I hadn't seen her in like 4 or 5 months. So.
And how many people were there?
At one point, about 10, I think. If it might have been less than that. I want to say my brother Dave, his son, and his girlfriend, and then there was my family, RJ, me, and Carrie, and then my sister Bernadette and her husband Jim, and of course my mom. So there wasn't too many.
That's 9.
People. Yeah, and then on top of that, Dave, Quentin, and Lily only stayed for a couple moments, and they were out of there. Oh, and my sister Kate. Forgot my sister Kate. So they came and went. All right. So people did come and go, and that was that.
Fascinating.
Oh.
How long were you there, Ron? Look at me. Look at me.
No, that I was there for a couple hours because I hadn't seen my mom in, like I said, 4 or 5 months, and just hung out.
And how is the dear old mom?
She is psychotic as ever. She's normal. I think all parents are psychotic during the holidays. But
perhaps. And what did you get for Christmas, Ron's?
I got a healthy family. I really did.
That's
that's exactly what I wanted. We got a dice game from Carrie, and that's about it. I mean, we have this thing where we have continuous gifts out the entire year, right? So it could be whatever I want 1 month or whatever. So Christmas is all year round for me.
Did you get that hammock?
You mean the hammock straps? I do have the hammock. I'll have to show it to you on podcast one day.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the hammock.
You wrestled that old lady at Walmart for that hammock.
It was
on
at
Black
Walmart.
Friday.
Yeah, it was on Black. Yeah, those jujitsu moves really come in handy.
Hey, Ron, when did you realize that you were an old man?
When politics started making sense to me.
How long ago was that?
Not too long ago.
Not too long ago?
Yeah.
So,
in fact, actually, funny story, I called a friend of mine I haven't spoken to in almost 17, 18, probably 20 years, right?
Was it because you didn't understand how to use the phone?
I did not. And I finally got a hold of him, and he is a staunch libertarian, and he tried to turn our conversation heavily into political, right? It was heavily politicized, I want to say. Instead of saying, hey, let's catch up on some old times and some old stories. But no, that was an interesting phone call. And that's where that went. But more so, what did you guys get for Christmas? What did the Swan get the Beaveman for Christmas?
Well, first of all, I asked specifically not to have any type of Christmas present unless I like to have consumables if I'm going to get a Christmas present.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting. I've never known that. So what type of consumable did you get?
I got some, and the reason why I asked about, there's little things that make me feel like I realize that I'm getting older, even though in my mind I feel very young.
Like what?
Well, like for instance, with things that you get excited about getting for Christmas.
Like
I got
2
bars of soap for Christmas, and I was very excited about that.
Okay, now I'm pretty sure that everybody's going to say, "Oh, that's okay," but they were specialty soaps, right?
Yeah, they're Duke Cannon soaps, so they're really big. They're big ass. It's actually what they call like a big ass brick of soap or a big ass bar of soap. They're 10-ounce bricks of soap, and they smell of different things. Like one of them has like beer in it. One of them's got whiskey in it. So they're manly soaps.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was excited about that, and I also got another consumable. I got was some Lindor truffles, dark chocolate, just how I like my men.
Dark and smooth.
Silky and smooth. And don't finish that. There's always some part to that the Swan likes to say, and I keep telling her that's gross.
I say creamy.
You don't have to add that part in.
Well, I think
you keep that part for later.
It's nice that you're thinking of Tremonde. Wow, that is a big ass brick of soap.
Oh, you looked up the Duke Cannon.
I did.
recommend
I
it.
did.
It smells great, Ron. It smells really good. Really good.
Yeah,
I
all
did.
of them smell good so far. Haven't smelled one that doesn't smell good so
I
far.
really want the one that smells like a campfire. That's the one I really want. Try that one. I want to try that one.
Wow.
And I also got some beef jerky. That was awesome.
What kind?
I get this beef jerky that it's called Mingua, and it's really tasty. And each package is cut from like a single strip of beef, and so I've got them quite a few times. And usually around Christmas, I'll get an email from them, and because I've gotten it in the past for my niece because she likes beef jerky also. So I like to get consumables. I get really tired. I ask them not to get stuff because everything just clutters up, and I spend a lot of time getting rid of things.
Oh,
Or
cool.
if I'm going to get something, I like it to be, collectible or something that's going to last for a long time because I like to think in the future. I'm like, well, if I'm going to give something, I want stuff that I can pass down to other people also, like either my children or my grandchildren that would be like an heirloom or something that functional that they could use, or even something that might be worth money that they could sell if they needed to.
Wow. And did you get any collectibles along the line like that?
I got some socks also. I was very excited about the socks.
I don't think you got any collectibles this year, really.
No, but I did get a Build-A-Bear Grogu. And he's going to be doing the podcasting for me from now on because he's very dependable.
Cute. He's very cute.
He's dependable.
Okay.
And
Look
he
at those ears.
He actually knows how to use technology as well.
I would assume so. So, and the Swan.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Well, it's the same question. What did the Beaveman and your illustrious family give you?
I got a Snuggie.
You got a cult blanket?
A Snuggie. The
That's
blanket with sleeves. The
That's
blanket
a cult
with sleeves.
blanket.
It's so warm and fuzzy.
It's
got pockets.
Like Professor Hogwarts now.
Yeah, I do.
So you can go out and look like you're part of a cult. Does it have a hood?
No, it doesn't have a hood, but it's got pockets.
Pockets?
It
And what do
does.
you keep in these pockets?
I mean, I'm assuming you put like your remote control in it.
I
Maybe
think
your
people
cell
put snot
phone.
rags in there.
Yeah, snot rags. I don't usually
Okay.
use snot rags very often.
Cool. And what do the kids get? Well, you realize you do have kids, right? Because
Yeah.
I love the blank look on the B-man. He's like, oh yeah, we do
They
have kids.
got way too much. They got way too much crap.
Like what?
Just like a ton of crap.
Books. Aw. I mean, I don't know. Usual kid stuff that they want. Stuff.
I don't know. So the daughter got like the complete box set of The Office on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever.
Okay.
Skylar
Big
got
Office fan.
Skylar got her a coffee cup that looks just like the one that's on Michael's desk that says "World's Best Boss" or whatever on it. So she really likes The Office, so she got that. I don't know. She got a bunch of stuff. I got her some jewelry that kind of matches the Swans, but neither one of them are wearing it, and that really kind of pisses me off because it's awesome jewelry. But whatever.
I wore it yesterday, and I wore it today until I cleaned the bathroom, but I didn't want to get it messed up.
Yes, but tell the Rons how awesome it was. Tell them what it is.
It is pretty cool. It is a silver bracelet with all the Star Wars characters on it.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but the main characters.
Not all of
them.
them.
Chewbacca and R2-D2 and C-3PO. It doesn't have Baby Yoda on it, though, or Yoda. But it has Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper. It's pretty cool.
What about the Emperor?
No.
Princess Leia?
No. Chewbacca.
You would have to have a really giant wrist if you keep naming off everybody.
Yeah, but it's really cute.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Carrie got, what did she get? She got a lot of stuff for her garden that she really likes. She got like a couple of tomato and cucumber starters. She got some socks. She got something else too. I can't remember. I know RJ got a torque wrench. He really wanted a torque wrench for his automotive class. Yeah, right. He got a torque wrench. He got a fridge magnet for his fridge downstairs. He got
that was a small torque wrench.
No,
It was a
it's
small torque wrench magnet.
no. But he did get a wrench bottle opener. Right. On one end it's a wrench, and on the other end it's a bottle opener. Right. For his toolbox. He got a bunch of shirts, got some socks, got a car calendar, got a couple of Hot Wheels that, because he likes Cobra Shelby's, I guess, or some sort of cars. I know I'm going to catch flack for that. And yeah, and then he got some consumables, as you would say. He got some sriracha peanuts, habanero. No, it's either, I think it was habanero beef jerky.
That sounds good.
Dr. Pepper Jelly Bellies, right? Because he really likes those.
That's
Right?
good.
So overall, pretty good, decent Christmas for everybody. Right? The one thing Carrie wanted is the one thing we didn't get her was she wants a brand new laptop.
Time Alone?
Time Alone. She's already got that. She got her usual bottle of Crown Royal whiskey that she likes. And then the one thing she really wanted
If she can't have Time Alone, she's going to get drunk instead.
Yeah. Well, she wanted a laptop, but the prices didn't come down this year as much as we thought they would, because usually she gets a brand new laptop every 10 years. And we thought the prices were going to drop this year, right? After the Walmart riots, right? But there wasn't any price drops on them. That was really surprising. And then, of course, from my Secret Santa, I got a brand new microphone, which of course I'm not using right now, but I was humbled and almost broke down because someone actually thought of the podcast and got me a microphone, and I was looking forward. And that's why I'm so frustrated, is because I wanted to tell the person that I'm using it, and that's awesome.
All right. You have your whole life to use your microphone.
I appreciate it. I really do. And then, and then we got RJ a synth pop, because he composes music, a synth pop CD from some European stuff, and I'm like, here, I'm pretty sure
you got some Kids Bop. That's awesome.
No, synth pop. Right?
My favorite Kids Bop song.
What is your favorite Kids Bop song?
I don't know what it's called. That one where it's like, since you've
been gone. Yeah.
And then, so on to the New Year's resolution, of course, which you guys have mentioned. What are going to be your New Year's resolutions?
I didn't mention that.
That was the Tremonde. I don't make New Year's resolutions.
That was Tremonde who wanted to do that, so we're not doing that. He's not here. What would be the point?
Well, he did text me, says the Rons came through, so that's cool. All right. I don't know. Let's reflect back on also how 2020 has been such a firestorm of fun. Carrie wanted something that we couldn't find, and I'm pretty sure it's a little too late to get it now, but she wanted, every year, I like to probably pick out an ornament. And more so, we haven't done that in the last couple of years, and I thought this year we should do it. And she goes, the one ornament I really want is the 2020 dumpster fire ornament. Have you seen this?
I'm pretty sure you can find them online.
You can find a lot of things online.
Yeah. Anything online.
Yes. I seen the 2020 one that has the O's as toilet paper rolls. Did you see that one?
No, I have not. No, I'll have to look that one up.
Speaking of 2020 and stupid people, is that what we're
of course.
Do you have any friends, quote friends, Ron's? Not saying do you have any friends, I'm sure you do. Do you have any that only contact you when they need something, but act like they really gave a shit about you? Like they preface it as if, if they really meant out to reach out to you, and then it's like, oh, by the way, can I ask you this question?
That's an interesting line. I never gave it much thought because I try to help out everybody whenever their question is. But yeah, I suppose in the past that's happened, right? I can't remember with who, but I'm pretty sure it's happened.
You don't hear from them for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, Rons, can you fix my computer? Oh, by the way, hope you're doing good. How's the family?" Like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've had that.
They know they do the greeting first.
Oh, whoops, I forgot. I did it backwards.
No. I've okay, according to the Swan, no, but yeah, I've had that happen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've had that happen.
I have quote unquote friends that I don't hear from forever, or I can actually text them and actually say, "Hey, how's it going?" and not hear back from them for literally months. But whenever they need something, it's always they preface it that way. "Oh, hey, how you doing? How's the family? Blah blah blah." And then it's like, "Oh, hey, let me ask you this question." And
Well, okay.
it's always medical. It's let me ask you for some free medical advice. That's always what I get.
Wow. No, I.
And then
I
they
get,
don't listen to your advice
And they
anyway.
don't listen to me anyway.
Yeah. No, I guess in some sort of a way, yeah, I've had that happen, right? And when you mentioned with
Look at me.
computers, yeah, look at me. What's that from?
Don't you know what silence is?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, I'm sorry. But yeah, I guess I had it in the computer realm. Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, doing fine. You know, then they
Then they're
then
like,
they
"Well,
ask
what
the
about
question.
you?"
Yeah,
Let's ask you this question.
yeah, they do that. Yeah. But for the most part, lately it hasn't happened, but it's because of COVID. Right? No one's coming out of the woodwork to have me work on their systems. And now that you mention it, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen because usually about Christmas time, everybody gets that new type of laptop, that new computer that they want set up somehow.
Well, they better hope that they don't need it for Skype. Hi.
Oh no. We're going to figure out what happened down there with the other system.
No, you know what
What,
happens to me, Rons? What
what's
happens
that,
to me
sir?
is people will text me and ask me about medical stuff and then not listen because all they'll start to do is fucking talk. They're like, "Oh, can you please call me and help me with this?" So I'm like, I really don't want to. This happened to me the other day. Happened to me
Okay.
the other day, and I told the Swans, I'm like, you know what? I never hear from this person unless it's something medical. I don't hear from them for months and months and months. Even if I text them and say, "Hey, how's it going?" I don't hear back from them. But the minute they need something, they text me. And they never listen to a fucking thing I say. They just listen to all kinds of fucking whacked out bullshit. And then they ask my opinion on the whacked out bullshit. And then if I say that's fucking
Whacked out bullshit.
straight up whacked out bullshit, then they're like, "Oh, well, I just thought that would work." And you're like, "No, that wouldn't work." You
No.
know,
Yeah.
I get tired of it. I told this one, I'm like, I don't even want to respond. I feel like I shouldn't even respond because I'm like, why should I?
No. Why should you?
And I
Well,
don't feel bad. And I don't feel bad for people who get COVID because they go out and do stupid shit. And I don't feel bad for people who post on social media that, they want to make a joke about the whole thing. They want to say it's bullshit and stuff. And then boom, they get it. And then they freak the fuck out. Like, okay, well, you went out,
yeah.
you post all this stuff on social media that it's fake. You post it and you post jokey shit about the vaccine, showing pictures of the elephant man saying, "Oh, this person got Pfizer's vaccine," doing all this stupid shit. But then if you get sick, all of a sudden it's like, "Oh my God, everybody help me. I'm sick." And let me post on my social media how I'm sick. And
No.
oh,
I
such
completely
garbage,
understand
man.
that.
It's fucking bullshit. You
It
got
is.
sick because if the Swan and I don't get sick, well, let me ask you a logical question, Ron. Because
Okay.
you know what? I fuck with the Rons people, members of Slaptail Nation. I fuck with the Rons, but Rons is a smart guy and he's logical.
I like to think I am, but not today on tech. Anyway, what's your question?
We're horrible with tech. Anyway, if you need some tech help 20 years ago, I would suggest you hit up the Rons. If it's anything that's happened since, I don't know,
Yesterday.
2010, probably shouldn't ask his help.
No,
Anyway,
let's face it, and here's the thing, that
very
system,
difficult.
no, well, that system downstairs was hand built, and the components that he got were top of the line, but they were failing constantly. So it wasn't him, it was the manufacturer. He actually rebuilt that system on a new board.
Oh, I'll be make sure that I let RJ know that it's not his fault.
No, it's not. It's the system failing. However, I mean, there's not much. I think one of the CEO of a manufacturing motherboard that he
Ron,
had
if I
committed
may
suicide.
interrupt-
Anyway, continue.
may I ask you this question?
By all means.
Okay. If the Swan and the Beaveman are not getting coronavirus,
Okay.
despite all of their exposure to patients and people with it, should we feel bad about people who get it? In other words, what I'm saying is, I feel as though if everybody was taking precautions like we are, who are exposed to people with it and lots of patients, then how is everybody else getting it?
You could be one of those people who are just immune to it. Let's face it, right? There's also what I've heard, what's been called I think you tuned me in this, the herd immunity, right? Or okay, maybe not. But the thing is, or you could be just damn lucky. Now, the logical reason is you are just taking precautions and staying healthy. You eat healthy, you exercise, you shower every day, your hygiene is good, right? You're smart. And that, if you do that, I mean, let's face it, you drastically reduce the chances of getting COVID. A lot of people aren't like that, unfortunately. And if you don't take this serious enough, and yes, I have a few friends on Facebook that don't take it serious. I mean, I've got a close friend of mine who came down with it. We also know people from the dojo who've come down with it. It's just that BS. It's like, it's all around you. Do I feel bad if you get sick? Yeah, I do. I really, really do. However, I'm not going to sit out there and tell you that, oh my gosh, how did this happen to you when you were the one that instigated it? I mean, it's just totally insane on my part just to say, okay, I'll help you out, but don't look for me to be so understanding of how you got it. I know how you got it. You were just stupid enough to get it. I mean,
okay, so in a roundabout way, you came up with the answer that we wanted to hear, because me and the Beaveman have worked every fucking day since March, wearing our mask every day, washing our hands, wearing our gloves, wearing our face shields, and we haven't gotten it. We stay the fuck at home when we're not at work. We change our clothes, we shower, we leave our shoes outside, all the precautions that we need to do.
Leave your shoes outside. Why?
So we don't bring our nasty work shoes into our home.
Oh.
Did that before COVID?
Yeah, we leave our work shoes outside because they have.
Okay. Well, when I've been
on them.
humbled enough to come into your house, I always leave my shoes at the door. So thank you. Right, so
thank you. Why are you thinking us? That's what you did. Why are you thinking?
Well,
us?
yeah, because then I got to play with Sammy.
What we're saying is,
take off your shoes if you want to play with Sammy.
Yes, that's it. No, stay the fucking home, retards. Don't be mad when you get coronavirus because you're dumb. Don't ask for pity from us.
Because I'm not going to lie, every patient that I've had come back positive for a coronavirus, for SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, has told me of how they got exposed. Now, some of them, a very few of them, had work-related exposures. But a lot of them are like, oh, I went to dinner here. Oh, I went to this party. Oh, I did this. The person that I'm talking to is like, oh, I went out to dinner and now me and, the girlfriend are sick. And I'm like, okay, motherfucker, why are you going out to dinner? Why are you posting? Why have you been posting all these jokey bullshit on social media this whole fucking time about how, oh, it's all fucked up. It's all fake and it's all funny and posting all these jokes and stuff. And then you're going to call me panicked. Why call me panicked?
So why are they joking about it if they don't take it serious? Now that it happens to them,
great question.
Do they flip it?
Now that
it personally affects them, it's a different story.
I see it. So, here's something that's really along the same lines. As I was talking to my friend from like 20 or 30, about 20 years ago.
Finally got a hold of him that long to figure out how to use his phone.
Yes, it did. And I asked him, hey, I was following you on social media and seeing what you were doing. And I said, why did you switch? What made you come to this conclusion of your political beliefs? He says, it's when I woke up. And I'm like, you woke up. What does that mean? It's like, well, when a certain politician took office, I started to take notice. I woke up. And I had to think, how or why did you wake up? I mean, what was the difference? And he says, our country's going towards a socialism. And I'm like, okay, all right. Right there and then, whether, you believe it or not, whether you're a staunch Democrat, Republican, whatever, I knew this was a fight I could not win. Even if I engaged in it, which I almost did, I could not win, and I backed the fuck down real quick.
Yeah, what's funny is you made that quick assumption, and I'm sure you're correct, but most people don't even know what socialism is. And if you have one idea that might be seemingly like socialism, all of a sudden you're a socialist. Well, no, I'm sorry. I don't see the point of one, everybody in this, a lot of people in this country push their children to go to college. Okay, fine. Push your children to go to college. For one thing, going to college does not guarantee them a great job when they're done with college. And then they're going to be saddled with like 60 grand minimum in debt. So why do we want our kids to start off with 60 grand in debt? If everybody should go to college, then I don't have a problem with college being paid for our children, like other countries that are, quote, socialist. That doesn't make me a socialist. That makes me a pragmatist and saying it doesn't make any sense that we should have our children start off in debt. The reason they want our children to start off in debt is because the more in debt we are as Americans, the more we can be controlled. That's what motherfuckers don't get. That's not a socialist idea. That's a capitalist idea. Let's make you all under the thumb of the people who are rich. That's what they're doing. That doesn't make me a socialist. It makes me smarter than the rest of you fucks.
Well, when I was listening to him, I'm like, I wanted to talk about old times and like where his life went and everything. And it's like, it was one of those things where it was just going to take a bad turn. And I'm like, I'll talk to you later, whenever. Because he actually had to go and.
Like, I'll talk to you in another 20. Like, I'll talk to you in another 20 years.
Well, no, he's
that's
doing
like
good,
social
but
media, right? Social media is not fun anymore.
No, it's not.
Everybody wants to bitch and take some political stance and stuff. And God forbid you disagree with somebody, and all these motherfuckers who I keep saying who are like, oh, Civil War's coming. I'm like, motherfucker, you sit there and talk that bullshit. Where were you? I didn't see you ever fucking raise your hand to serve your country. You are not going to fight in fucking some Civil War, you diabetic fat fuck. Come on, get over your fucking self. When I say, when did you realize you were an old man? I look at that as more than one thing, right? I know that I'm not some young badass, but I'm in fucking far better shape than the majority of the people my age that are touting that they're, I'm going to fight in the Civil War.
On that note, I'm not. I have really let myself go because I have enjoyed, for the first time in almost a year, I had a soda last night. And I really liked it. And I had ginger ale and I had all this fattening food. And I'm actually paying for it. But I'm going to run lean and clean after New Year's Eve. So that'll be that.
Good for you, Ron. You deserve it.
Oh, I think anybody deserves
my God, your dojo's been closed. You got to do something.
Amen to that. But no, I understand. I mean, yeah, it's like for those who've never served, I mean, why are you willing to take up arms now? Why are you willing to say spot all this bullshit?
Yeah, right? I think it's the same motherfuckers who would walk up to a service member or a veteran and be like, I almost served too, but fill in the blanks. And you're like, shut the fuck up. You did not. It never crossed your fucking mind. Sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and keep shoving that food in your fat fucking face. Your fat fucking face.
There you go. And with that, it's like, I know a lot of people that, couldn't serve, right? Because they got rejected. Does that count?
Shit.
No.
You know how hard it is to get rejected?
Not hard.
Yes,
if you walk in, well, I don't know how hard.
What? You know how many people, in my opinion, go to, quote, serve and got rejected? Because they ask you questions and you answer them stupidly. And you're like, just so you can say, I believe people do it on purpose, just so they can say like, oh, I went to join, but I couldn't because of this. I'm like, yeah, because you answered like a little bitch. That's how you.
Now, what questions do you think were?
They do it just so they can say that shit.
I mean, I feel like I wasn't in the military, but they hunted me down for like 3 years to get me to come in.
Well, were you Al Qaeda?
Yeah. No, I played the oboe, and the army wanted me to play in their band. But
impressive. Impressive Swords One.
You know, if you weren't the
you're
B-Man
an
spouse,
asshole.
there is so much dirty content right there, right? There is so much dirty content. If you weren't the B-Man's wife and I didn't respect you so much, I would say they wanted you to play a lot more than just the oboe.
They hunted her down because of she played that instrument that sounded like somebody was constantly stepping on a cat. And they really needed that. They really needed that instrument.
It's a highly needed.
Should have made the story more interesting and lied and said it was the Navy that was hunting you down because of your swimming skills.
Yeah,
actually, the oboe is played in Peter and the Wolf. Am I correct?
It's played in the Nutcracker too. It's played in a lot of
no, I don't want to get into what you and the Beaveman do, but and there's the baby. Now, what is the pronunciation of said character's name?
Grogu. What?
Grogu. I thought that was Yoda.
It's Baby Yoda.
It's Grogu. His name is Grogu.
Child.
Then how does it get to Yoda?
You need to watch The Mandalorian. It's not Yoda at all.
Okay. I haven't watched the Mandalorian at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
He's not Yoda.
It was so beautiful. The last episode was just fucking amazing.
That's what I hear.
For those of you in the Slaptail Nation Army, I highly recommend at least, get your Disney membership for a month and watch every episode. It's totally worth it.
Is it? Is it really worth it?
Yes, it really is.
It
Rons,
was
you don't have it?
well done.
Do it, Rons. Get your free streaming.
Yeah, get your free 7 days or whatever and just
do it,
binge
man.
watch
Do it.
Yeah,
he might not understand how to do it though because he can't use Skype for some reason.
I can use Skype. I can't. I've got Skype on my phone. I've got Skype on this machine. It's just I know that shit just breaks down constantly. That's and I guess I could fire up my Linux laptop too. I didn't think about that at the time. I just wanted to show off the mic. Right?
Now, let me ask you this along the whole old person line again. Do you do anything as an old guy that you probably shouldn't do? And what age do you think you'll stop doing shit that you probably shouldn't do?
Oh, geez. I don't think I'll ever slow down. The only thing that's slowing me down right now is the pandemic. That's about it. If anything, I would still be going pretty hard in. I will practice martial arts as long as I can. I rather enjoy that. And I was thinking, because you're an inspiration to me, right? Because you sparred actually in a tournament, and the older you get, the more painful it can be.
Likely to break a hip.
Yeah, break that hip. Right.
Here.
And I want to get back. I want to spar at least once again. Right. I sparred a couple of times in my youth, and I want to get back and spar again. And one of the things I will also want to do is I want to go on road trips. I used to go on, when I was young, I just want to go throw a dart somewhere and see where the road takes me, sleep in the car for a couple of days. Right. And from there, why not? Just take the road, see what I could do. Like I want to go to Mount Rushmore and see what that's all about.
He's gonna let Jesus take the wheel.
Let's take the wheel. I want to go
I feel like in that song, that lady was like really ridiculous. You're like, no, lady, you really should not just let go of the steering wheel. You probably should actually try to steer a little bit. Probably shouldn't just let go of it.
One of the things that you turned me on to was I want to go see Kevin Smith's podcast live. I really do. That looks interesting, right?
Well, you got to go to California for that.
There you go. Road trip.
There you go.
Road trip.
There you go.
Road trip there. What else? Skydive at least once.
Definitely rent a car though if you're gonna road trip.
Why? Why not go on my own?
Yeah, so that you have a dependable car.
Are you saying my car's that dependable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm saying your car's dependable.
Not cross-country worthy.
No, I was talking with this guy who does the class I do with its Western martial arts.
Okay.
Historical martial arts. And he was telling me that that's what he does when he goes on trips. He never takes his car. He always rents a vehicle. And I was like, that's interesting. Tell me more. He said, well, if you think about it, he's like, that way I always know that I have a brand new or almost brand new dependable car. And if it breaks down, it's their responsibility to fix it.
Wow.
I'm like, actually makes it. So he just gets unlimited miles. And whenever he goes on vacation, he takes a rented car.
I mean, it truly does work out cheaper if you think about it.
And he's not putting any miles on his own car.
Maintenance wise, oil change wise, tire wise, it does make sense.
Right.
And if it
it
breaks
does.
down,
That's an interesting concept.
Breaks down, he doesn't have to pay for it. They do.
Right.
All right.
That was some
Put that in the back of your old man head, Ron.
That was some older adult wisdom that was shared to me. I'm like, wow, that makes great sense. Thank you for imparting that tiny knowledge tidbit. But I was more talking about like dangerous things. For example, I was talking to my father the other day, who continues to. Let me preface this. I could sort of I can kind of understand where he's coming from, because in my head I'm very young. In my brain I'm very young. So I know there's things that I can still do. I also know that there's things that I do that maybe I shouldn't do, but I do them anyway. But I'm also despite all of my injuries and my chronic problems that I have, I'm in pretty good shape. Now, I will also say that at my age, my father was not in the same shape as me. He's been in shitty shape probably since the day he got out of the Army. So you can't compare the two. In other words, at my age now, if you compared my father at his time then, he is nowhere near in good shape as I am. And he just gets worse and worse. I call him the other day and he's telling me what he's been doing. He was telling me, he's like, well, it sure is a lot hotter higher up in the pole barn than it is down at the ground. I'm like, well, heat does rise.
Yeah, I was going to say, he rises.
Heat does rise, Father. I don't know if you knew this. And I'm like, and why are you making that observation? Because he was up in the rafters of his pole barn hanging insulation. He's 79.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, at what age do you not get on the roof anymore? On what age do you not clean your gutters?
It really depends on how healthy you are, I guess. I mean, I watched my neighbor who served in the military. I didn't know this. He was a cryptologist in the Air Force, right? Really nice guy, right? Came home. I noticed that there was a tow truck in his car, in his driveway.
Whoa, he has a huge car.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I walked over. I'm like, something happened. So I went over and I talked to him about it. And it's like, it turns out he crashed his car. So he's an older gentleman than me, and I have his sister on speed dial. I called her. I said, hey, you might want to call your brother because this happened.
So
well, it turns out.
Snitched on him?
Yeah, I did. She asked me to keep an eye out for him. That's what I did. Well, it turns out that he has dementia, and he knew about it. He owned it.
And, you forgot.
But you forgot. Yeah, you forgot. And they convinced him that to sell his house and move to a retirement home for him that would be better for him, and he agreed. And they were going to come in and redo the house. Well, when I met his sister, she was 82 or 83, redoing the house, right? And her friend was like 85. They had no intention of fucking slowing down ever. And I was like, wow. They came in, they showed me all the work that they did. It was really impressive. The one thing that they couldn't do, they hired somebody for. So it really depends on your mindset and your activity and how you handle yourself.
Well, I will say yes and no. I agree with what you're saying, that people think that they can do that stuff, and maybe they can, but the bottom line is, even if you're in great shape at that age, there's some things that you don't have very much control over, just as a process of aging.
Like your bowels?
Right. Possibly. No, just simple things. As we get older, for one thing, we have balance issues. It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to have some balance issues. Your proprioception or your perception and things do get off fairly easily. The other problem is, if you fall, a fall is different for you than it is for somebody who's 47 like me. It's different for me at 47 as compared to somebody who's 30, and somebody who's 30 as compared to 20.
Are you talking because of the bones breaking?
No, not just the bones. More along the lines of what happens to the trauma transference through our body when we fall. and the movement and stuff like the movement of our head. For example, if a 20-year-old falls, their brain is not going to move very much inside their skull.
They usually don't have that much to think about anyway.
Right. If a 40-year-old falls, there's going to be more movement of the brain inside of their skull than a 20-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old, etc. Let the Swan explain it, because she used to be a neuro nurse. So she could probably explain it to you a little bit better than me.
No, I completely
because you're
understand.
simpler.
As you get older, your brain atrophies or gets smaller inside the cavity of your head. So there's more movement and concussion going on inside, or like, what do they call it?
Shearing forces.
Shearing, yeah, exactly.
So if you have more movement.
So you're more likely to have little micro traumas in there and little brain bleeds inside your head than you would if you were a baby who fell.
No, I completely understand where you're coming from. I had a dear friend of mine whose mother went out west with her, and tragic as it seems, there's a joke here. She sneezed and blew out the front capillaries of her brain and bled to death, or had a seizure or whatever it was. So she literally blew her brains out that way. So I completely understand, whereas a healthy person, that wouldn't have been a problem.
Well, no, not even that. What I'm saying is even it doesn't matter. Even if you're healthy, that stuff it doesn't change. That's healthy people, not healthy people. It doesn't matter. As we age, and even when you look at a CT scan, the radiologist reports it out as, atrophy of the parenchyma or whatever, as a normal process of aging, because it's normal. All of us have that. So even if you're in great shape, if you're like, who was that guy who always said he was going to live to be 100, who had all those juicer commercials and wore the sweatsuit all the time?
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know who that is either. I know George Burns said he would play the Palladium when he hit 100.
No, not him. He wasn't in good shape. He smoked all the time and drank.
Yeah, he didn't die until he was well into his hundreds.
Anyway, the point is, if you use that as an example, that guy was in really good shape. It doesn't matter. His brain still would have shrunk.
Oh, wait a minute. I know what you're talking about.
So if he falls, he's still more likely to have his brain moving around inside.
Yeah, more rattles in your head. More.
So it doesn't matter. So the point is, even if my father was in great shape.
Talking about Jack LaLanne?
Yes.
That's who I thought you were talking about.
So even if my father was in great shape, it wouldn't matter. As a normal process of aging, he still has more risk factors than somebody who's 40 years old, who's up in the rafters hanging insulation. Doesn't matter how good a shape you're in or whatever. A sad story. I mean, ground level falls. Old people die from ground level falls.
Well, you fall at 32 feet per second, so you got gravity working against you.
Well, not from a ground level fall, though, because you haven't met terminal velocity.
But it doesn't matter, because if you fall, if you're older, you are more likely to have a bleed in your brain and not realize it until it's too late than being younger and falling, having the same fall.
Now, we'll say this, though. The good thing about being older is if you do have a bleed in your brain, you are less likely to die quickly than somebody who's younger.
That is true.
Because you have more space in there
to fill with blood before your body.
Before it pushes on your brain and pushes on your brainstem.
Wow. Well, hopefully that's a happy Christmas thought somewhere for somebody you don't like.
I had some sad stories with that. Yeah.
My point is this. Why
stay off the ladder, old people.
Yeah, stay off the ladder. What the hell?
I mean, you got enough money at that age that you could hire somebody to do that.
Okay, so let's face it. The topic here is we're all getting older. When do you slow down then? When do you slow down?
Well, let's use your martial arts as an example, right? I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Because even though you practice this pansy form of karate.
Hey, did everybody know that the Ronz is a martial artist? We haven't talked about it.
He's not only is he a martial artist, he's also a black belt.
I am. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Here's my point, though. There is a lot of compression forces in the style that you do. You guys do a lot of this stomping of the floor and whatever, right?
Fumakomis. Yeah.
Yeah. you're Gesundheit. And that's hard on your joints. So do you see yourself as time goes by, maybe doing something else, like something that's a form-based, a different type of, more of a softer form-based, or something where there's not that much compression, or things like that? Because even if you're like, whoa, look at my sensei, he's old and he does this. Yeah, well, you know what? He has a lot of musculoskeletal problems that would not be present or would be helped if he did a different style. So do you see that you would always do that, or would you do something else? Because the reason why I picked jiu-jitsu, our form of jiu-jitsu, is because I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I could do that as an old man. With a couple of exceptions, because like the flips and stuff, I wouldn't keep doing that. But
because if anything, I'm a firm believer that anybody can do anything if you put your mind to it, and you're of healthiness, right? So if you have osteoporosis, right, or some sort of anomaly like that, you can actually tone it down and make it work for you. You really can. As far as the flips go, right, you're right. There's some limitations like that. There really is. But you can always dial it back in whatever style it is. I mean, can I kick high like I was in TKD? No, I can't. But I can lower my kicks, right? So I can still get a relatively good kick off. Can I do the splits anymore? No, but I can go low if I have to and duck. I can always dial it back to where it fits my need. That's the one thing I like about martial arts, is you never actually have to give up a style, as long as you can dial it back. Even in your style, jiu-jitsu or judo, right? You can always dial it back down. You can ramp it up, right? It really depends on what you can do with it. That's the way I look at it. That's the way and if one thing becomes a little too overbearing for me at one point, then at that point I'll take a step back and say, okay, enough's enough, right? But I'm always going to work within my limitations. I was working with a person in Kabuto, working with the bow, and just doing teokaite hand switches, stuff like that. Nothing too muscular structure intense. Right? You just, you're flipping the bow, you're just doing a couple of motions. And he says, I have to sit down. I'm like, okay, maybe I overexerted him somehow, or he did something that I didn't catch right away. And I said, what's wrong? Is it something I did? He says, no, it's me. I'm like, okay, can you tell me what your problem is so I can work with you? He says, I had spinal fusion a few years ago and it's starting to hurt my back. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, if you would have told me that, I could have dialed it back down a bit so it would work with you. But if you keep I guess that's the flip side. If you keep it a secret and someone works with you, how are you going to make it work, right? You can't.
But see, I feel there's so much. I feel like there's so many other things you could do,
such as
like Tai Chi.
Tai Chi is a deadly form of Kung Fu. It really is. It's just a slowed down version of Kung Fu if you look at it.
I'm pretty sure if you say that to somebody, they're going to punch you in the face.
I did say that to somebody.
Kung Fu is everything. Kung Fu is everything. Kung Fu is not a style of martial arts. Kung Fu is everything.
Okay, fair enough, right? You got the purist out there. But I did actually go, oh, Tai Chi is fluid and slow down. And I'm like, really? And then they sped it all up for me. You just realize how mean and dirty it is.
But that's not how they practice it.
It depends on once again, it's how it's practiced. I mean, you dial it back down, you slow it down for
That's how most people practice it. Most people practice Tai Chi slow down. Look at the large groups of people that practice it in the parks when you see them doing it in China. A bunch of old people doing it. That's the point. Is you can keep doing stuff like that as you get older. Why not do something like that? That was my question. That's what I'm saying. For example, if all of a sudden at our dojo they removed the mats and they're like, you know what, we don't have the mats anymore. It's going to be all hardwood floors. I wouldn't do jiu-jitsu anymore.
Why?
Because my structure, my feet cannot withstand standing on a hardwood floor barefoot. I wouldn't do it.
But could you, if that was the only way you could practice, would you give it up? Or would you work within those limitations? Would you dial it back, let's say, maybe a half hour?
Back? What would be dilating it back? Levitating?
No, dialing it back was like, okay, if it hurts your feet for, let's say, being on a wooden floor for an hour, would you dial it back to a half hour?
I can't stand on bare feet.
Okay, so would you wear some sort of padding on your foot?
Okay, but that's not usually what usually you don't wear shoes or anything like that.
Yeah, but if you could, and
If they said you could wear shoes, then I was sure I'd be like, okay, sure, I'll wear shoes.
or sort of like some footy slippers, like rainbow socks.
Can't do that. You're not listening to me.
Yeah, I am.
Do that. I can't do that. I physically can't do that.
Socks counts as barefoot.
Oh,
There's no support to your feet. That's what he's saying. Like,
okay,
it hurts
no,
the bottoms of his feet.
I didn't know he was such a wimp. I'm sorry, because I know most people would stand on a wooden floor, right? I understand that, but hey.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can't stand on a bare floor. I can't walk. I can't walk like 10 feet on a bare floor. I can't.
I honestly, I had no idea. I mean, I've seen you on. Now that I think about it, I've only seen you walk across the floor.
Most people cannot. Most people don't know by looking at me that I'm in pain 24 hours a day.
No, you're right. No wonder you're always angry. No, it makes sense. It really does. Hey,
I just figured it out.
Yeah, I just figured out. Hey, Beaveman, how are you? Hi, Rons! You know what? You freaked everybody out in the dojo that one day. When I say, you never come up and say hi to me. You just kind of leave and you stuck out. And I was talking to a parent and you came right up into my face like, Rons, I'm leaving now. Goodbye. Nice to see you. And then you left. And I think I had to turn around and explain to him why that interaction had to take place. But yeah, no, I had no idea that you were always a physical pain.
Yep. Every day, 24 hours a day.
Now, is there any way to lessen that pain? Except with taking the, I don't have my platypus with me. I should have my platypus with me. All right.
There's a way to do it, but I don't do it because it would cause so many other problems.
What would that way be?
To live off of pain medication?
Oh, so there's not a natural remedy you can use, like the Force?
So that would be nice, yes. I'm hoping they come out with nanobot technology, actually. That might help. Or just to replace a lot of my body parts with cyborg parts. That would be cool.
The Beaveman. The Beaveman as a cyborg. Would you get a penile enhancement?
Yes, I would.
With laser sighting on it?
Yes, I would have to lie about to come up with some condition for my penis just to get the cyborg penis, but I would totally do it.
And would you get a laser sighting so you always hit the hole 100%?
Oh, then I can't have any excuses for when I hit the wrong hole.
Well, that'd be cool. Any other cyborg enhancements like vibrating fingers?
I don't see how that would benefit me in any way.
Well, it would. Especially if you're alone.
If I can like make my arm longer, yeah, maybe.
Or you can make that bicep or that
disjoint my shoulder.
Make it a jackhammer fist or something like that.
Yes.
Right. No, that's interesting, right? But you could always, I don't know, with your mental acuity, you could always dial it back a bit. I didn't realize you were in that much pain, but you hide it pretty well. You really do, especially when you practice Western martial arts on the wooden floor. Because I've seen you
shoes.
Really, I had noticed.
I always wear shoes.
I hadn't noticed. Wow. But then I haven't practiced it in such a long time.
Yep. I always wear shoes.
Wow. And what about you, Swan? Is there any medical anomalies we should be aware of other than your temper?
No.
She's a very low libido.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty normal.
A very low libido. That's okay.
Yeah, see?
That's why you have. I don't know. I mean, you ever walk into a shitstorm knowing that you don't know why or how it happened? You're just right in the middle of it.
You just caused the shitstorm, Rons. You're the stirrer of shit.
I really wish I was. Like yesterday, my sister's husband, and here's some background. They're both mentally disabled. They both are. So they're watching wrestling, and it's like my brother-in-law was screaming at the TV, or not screaming at the TV, talking loud, saying, "Why doesn't he gouge his eyes out? Gouge his eyes out!" And he's making this gouging thing, right? And my dear wife, who decided to engage in conversation at this point, says, "It's all scripted." And I looked at her, "Shut up. They don't know that. You know that. I know that. No, you don't need to instigate this shitstorm. Just leave it alone." So, yeah, no, I can't. I did. You walk into a shitstorm, you don't know how you caused it, but you're in the middle of it. No.
That wasn't very exciting.
It was, but I kept on looking at Beaveman. He's just like, and
I kept waiting for the story to get really cool, and any second now.
Yeah, it was going to be cool, but it was one of those things where it just, you don't. I asked my beloved wife to back off instead of instigating this argument with the mentality of a 12 to a 15-year-old where you're not going to win.
Yeah. We visited my parents for Christmas, sort of.
Really? And how was that? Did you go up to the raft?
No, we did not. We went the day before. We went on the 24th. We drove to my parents' house and stayed outside and talked to them while they were inside. And they kept trying to get us to come in. We wouldn't.
And we were wearing our masks.
Now, why didn't you go in? Because you had your masks on.
Because the less exposure, the better. So if we're outside with our masks, we're even more likely or less likely to be exposed than going in. Why risk yourself even more?
You two are in the medical field.
It used to be that we worried about exposing them. Now it's the other way around because they don't follow precautions. They keep going and doing shit. So now we don't see them because they're the ones who are more likely to get us sick.
Okay, so fair enough. You guys are in the medical field. You would know this answer a lot better than I would. Wearing a mask is good. We all know that. We can be better.
1,000 points. 1,000 points of light.
1,000 points. It's good. However, if you go to somebody's house and you have gloves on and a coat on,
there's no point. The gloves don't make it. There's no point. What's the point of the gloves?
Well, can the coronavirus attach itself to clothing and travel that way?
No.
All right. So what was the point?
Most likely no. I mean, most viruses do not. You can't even say survive because a virus isn't, quote, alive. Not transmissible in clothing very well. No.
Okay, so
neither's the flu, neither's the cold. Cold virus.
So if you walked in the house fully dressed with a mask on, with just your, let's say, face exposed, I mean, parts of your face, of course, would that have helped, or would that have been too much exposure?
It does help, but again, why should I risk it when I can just stay outside and talk to them?
Well, they're your parents. I mean,
who weren't doing what they should be doing, and they're both freaking elderly. And then they're hanging out with my older brother, who's not doing what he's supposed to be doing either.
The Baptist
and his kids aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So now they don't even bother. I mean, they're having like parties and shit as a family, and not even inviting us anymore because they know we're not going to come, so they don't even mention it.
That was a point of contention with my family. It's like, do we want to go over there with because we've been around people who've been with COVID, right? Let's face it. Somewhere along the line, we come in contact with somebody with it, and we were worried about if we go over there, are we going to be exposed to it? But I hadn't seen my mom and my mother in like 6 months, and I thought, you know what, I really didn't want to go over there. And I worried about my sister, who's on a breathing apparatus, and her husband, they're both mentally disabled, and they both have a compromised immune system. My mom also is a cancer survivor, and my sister's just bipolar, batshit crazy sometimes. So I got to be careful, because actually when we walked in, we've got our masks on. My sister's cutting up a hen, and she swings around. She's got this fork going. She's saying something, and my family's kind of backing away, like, and it's like, there's no spatial recognition of you have a giant fork in your hand and you're talking to people. So
you walked in and you said, "What the fork?"
No, I just looked at my wife and I'm like, oh. And my wife is one of these people, like, she's sweet. My wife is really sweet, and so is my son. But they're looking that if you start shit, there won't be shit left to deal with.
Well, you
It'll
don't
end.
say you don't start nothing, there won't be nothing.
Yeah. And then there was another time my sister was just talking. She was swinging around the knife, and I'm like, put the knife down and just talk with your hands. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay. So it was crazy like that. I mean,
Just using it for emphasis.
yeah, I would hope so. God, I hope so. But when you think about that, it's like how much exposure to them of the coronavirus are they giving versus what we're giving?
I don't know. Just let's take my stupid friend's example. She had a scrapbooking party get together with 20 people for a weekend. Wow. They were going to be smart and wear masks, but even doing that, they still ate and drank in it was a venue that let them have 20 people. So I don't know, wherever they slept, maybe 3 or 4 to a room or something. I don't know, whatever. But in their common areas, they were supposed to wear masks. And they had their 5-day get together with 20 people. 16 out of 20 of them got COVID. Only one of them went in there with COVID, but they didn't know it. But 16 out of 20 of them got it. So how safe is that? How much exposure did you get?
For those who didn't get it, do you want to take a blood sample and see if they have the antibodies for it?
Maybe those 4 people who didn't get it didn't eat in the common area. Maybe those 4 people wore their masks better. Maybe those 4 people were lucky. Maybe those 4 people, who knows? But 16 out of 20 got it. So
what would have been, because now that Christmas is past, and it's still Boxing Day, of course, what would have been the perfect gift that everybody wanted?
No more COVID.
Yeah,
no more COVID. Okay.
I would like everybody to just socially distance, wear your masks, and not be stupid for 3 weeks so that we could get through this.
No, we can't have that because you know what? If we do that, then we don't have a podcast. Right?
Of course we do. We talked about stuff long before COVID. The podcast has been going on.
We could podcast in person.
Okay, you know what?
If you listen back to the podcasts from November or December of 2019, I predicted a super flu as what would end the human race. So I guess blame me.
It's all your fault. You're in cahoots.
Because I made so much money. Because I made so much money off of it.
I don't know. Yeah, socially, I do miss that. I miss doing the road trip out to the Beaveman's lair, playing with his dog, Sammy, by the way. I miss Sammy because your dog was so friendly. And I miss I really do want to meet Tremonde because, for all I know, he's just someone you hired to be on the podcast. Right? I met the Woodman, right? He was awesome. Right? And I'd like to see him get together.
We got through a good hour before Ron said awesome.
Yeah, he did it though. He did it.
And I'm trying to limit the words I say. Oh, I should say.
So silence. It's just gonna have silence.
You're like, see,
yeah.
Trying to limit the words I say, and see.
If you put him in his head, he'll start saying them though.
Yes.
So if you're like, oh, Ron's, right?
Oh, Ron's, yeah, probably.
Well, we'll have to get Tremonde on the next podcast so he can talk about his New Year's stuff because I don't even make New Year's resolutions anymore. So it'd be interesting to see what he says.
Well, one of the New Year's resolutions, real quick, is to eat cleaner, right? And
what are you gonna try to do? You're trying to cure COVID? Isn't that what Trump wanted everybody to do?
No. What I want to do is
eat cleaner. He wanted everybody to eat.
No, cleaner. I kind of slacked on my diet. I want to go back.
I got it. He's being silly.
Ron didn't get it.
Ron didn't get it.
What didn't I get? Well, apparently I did.
Cleaner. Get it?
Trump.
Okay, yeah.
Lysol,
with the
bleach, whatever.
Yeah. I if anything, I would like to get a little bit more back into shape. Like when
Round is a shape.
Yes, it is. But when I was going for my black belt, I was running about 3 miles every other day. I was keeping up pretty good.
Relatively.
No, I was getting up there. I was, I was eating a lot healthier. I mean, I gave up a lot of my junk foods. I gave up a lot of pastas, rices, and stuff like that. So I would like to go back to that time, and I want to get back into hiking. I really do. All right. I want to go back. I want to get back out there and do some geocaching and have some fun with that. And being a black belt, it does help.
Geocaching helps you be a black belt?
Or being a black belt helps your geocaching.
It does, because you never know if you're going to come across a beaver, and you might have to kick that beaver away if it's there. By the way, at Asylum Lake in this area, have you seen the pictures of the beaver that have been attacking the trees?
Beaver don't attack trees.
They do.
They don't.
You sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure.
Because they chop wood.
They don't attack trees. Attack would, that would have something to do with that's like some sort of a confrontation. They attack a tree. I don't think that's accurate.
Well, I know that we have beavers down at the lake, and
that is what they are. That's what they do.
They build dams.
They build dams. They chop down trees.
I didn't know that.
So that doesn't mean they're attacking trees.
Well,
it's something that they are coded to do from the first time a beaver was ever on the earth. So, I mean, are they engaged in some sort of kumite, the tree and the beaver?
I think so. I
don't think that's accurate.
I think it could be.
That's accurate. And let's ask the experts, is that true? Okay, so there you go. Beavers are supposed to chew on trees in order to build dams. They are not attacking the trees. Attacking.
Well,
Strange choice of words.
So, as this end year closes out, what is everybody going to do for the New Year's?
I'm going to hang out here at the house with the swan and
the baby swan
and the daughter. That's and that'll be it. And I work that day until 6, I think.
Well, congratulations, by the way, on your new job.
I don't have a new job.
I thought you had a new job.
No, I'm working as a contractor, which means I just work for myself basically and just work at different places.
Oh.
So I don't have a job per se. I'm just picking up shifts.
Okay. I when you mentioned that you were going to be up at this certain area, I'm like, oh, okay. I was taken aback. I'm like, oh, he's got a new job, like working at Walmart or something.
That'd be nice, but no, I do not.
And something I learned about the swan, I didn't know she was a neural nurse. That's pretty intense. I have newfound respect for her, but don't tell her that.
So before he didn't have any respect for you as a nurse.
No, not at all. No, I've always had respect for
now because you're a podiatry nurse, he doesn't have any respect for you. But because you were a neuro nurse in the past, now
I've always had a lot of respect for the swan when she almost put my wife through a window. Well, no, through a mirror. It was a mirror. It was a mirror. You know what? That was amazing. Yeah, I've always had respect.
And that she was more worried about the mirror than the fact that she flew 3 feet backwards.
Yeah. I think everybody was, because we all saw the mirror behind her.
But was it amazing?
It was amazing.
Actually, it was a motion that she did and executed perfectly.
Falling?
What's that?
Falling?
No,
my motion.
Well, they both did, right? When she did the motion perfectly, there was no defense against it. And what was awesome is
like a drum technique.
Almost like the drum technique. But when I saw it, it was great. And Carrie rolled back about 2-3 feet, and then we saw the mirror. I'm like, oh shit! It was an oh shit moment. But the swan is a badass. She has nothing to be messed with, right? Mm-hmm. I like that. But I have a newfound respect for her. I always do. And Grover, right?
Grover, yeah. Grover.
Is that Grover?
No, Grover is a Muppet. Grover is on Sesame Street.
Well, Yoda was a Muppet.
No.
Yes,
it's
Frank Oz voiced him.
Grogu.
Yes, Frank Oz designed Yoda.
Did he design him? I know he voiced him.
And it's Jim Henson's. What was the name of his company? Jim Henson.
Jim Henson's workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who did Yoda. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it. I'm done. Been an hour.
Done talking to the Rons. Been an hour, but prepped for 3 hours.
3 hours. Way to go, Ron. Nice job.
Appreciate it.
Glad
Thank
you
you, guys.
enjoyed your Christmas gift, and hopefully we will get to see you use it on the next
I look
podcast.
forward to it.
You've got a week to figure out how to use Skype. Go ahead and try some practice calls. It's very complicated.
You could call yourself because you know how to use it on your phone. From the computer, you could call yourself on your phone.
You could actually just do a test call.
Oh, yeah, you could do that too. But make sure you do it in Australian because that's what we do.
You know, I also have a voiceover voice modulation program for
Okay, why don't you just stick with the basics? Just stick with the basics.
Don't make it difficult for yourself.
I'm not, but you guys keep going, try this, try that. And I'm like, okay, I will. You're like, well, dial it back.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say adios, mooch fuckos. It's been great. Thank you for joining us for this relaxed episode after Christmas where we spent time talking about, I don't even remember. Oh, yes, that we're getting older. All right. So
your dementia. It's your dementia.
My dementia has kicked in, and I will see you next time.
Bye from the Swan.
You don't have to say
I do have to say it because it likes to piss you off. Bye, Rons.
Bye, the Swan. The Beaveman. Have a happy New Year. See you soon, hopefully.